Okay, so my first embodied practice that I did throughout this month was taking a mindful walk through nature, which was a spiritual health practice for me. And so I started off this month going into it with the values of being mindful and being present, and going for walks every day was a practice that I've never really had, especially throughout like the semester. During the school year, I got so lost in doing homework, and then I was always tired, so I never wanted to go outside. And so, um, given the more free time I had being at home during this J term, I was able to find the groove pretty quickly in doing this every day. And then I used taking my stop for coffee as a motivator to help get myself out of bed and get my body moving. Um, Coffee is something that I love either getting every day or making every day. So I was able to use that as a tool to get myself motivated to do this practice. Um, I brought my phone with me just for safety purposes. Otherwise, I used taking my walk as a time to be mindful and away from devices and fully be outdoors with my surroundings. Um, and then evolving over time, I had to make a few adjustments for my walking length or whatever path I wanted to go on, according to weather mostly. A few days last week was really cold, so I cut my walk to a shorter distance, but I still push myself to go outside because I know it would be good for me. And when it was really cold, there was like nobody out, so it was really nice to just. It was kind of just me outside. I didn't really see many people. Um, and then if I needed an extra boost in motivation, I brought my headphones with me so I could listen to music. I didn't always want to do that just because for safety reasons. As a young woman, it's good to know what's around me and hear things. So I didn't do that a whole lot, and if I did, I only had one earbud in. And then where am I now? I'm still on top of getting a mindful walk almost every day, about 5 or 6 times per week. I'm about to do that after I finish recording this. Um, and I don't really need to set any reminders as this practice has now become natural and just part of my day to day routine. And then my spring semester leaves a lot of free time in the afternoons and evenings, so I plan on carrying this practice beyond this month and beyond this class. And my second practice for relational health is reaching out to family. I love my family. I have a good relationship with everybody, but I have kind of a bad habit of not really reaching out outside of holidays and birthdays and family gatherings and stuff like that. And it's not just me, that's kind of how my whole family operates. I mean, like my parents and their siblings definitely talk almost every day, but otherwise, like I made a plan to reach out to my cousins, my aunts, and my uncles because I don't really get to see them as much outside of holidays and birthdays and other occasions like that. And so at the beginning of the month, I needed to make a reminder on my phone to send a message to someone to check in. But about halfway through the month, it became like part of what I needed to do, and I didn't need a routine or I didn't need a reminder. And I just knew that during the day I was going to reach out to someone to check in, see how they were doing. Changing over time, like I said, this practice became less of a chore and less of something I had to do and more of something I looked forward to doing. It made me feel good because a lot of times I would reach out, my family would be excited to hear from me, excited that someone was checking in just randomly to see how they were doing. So that definitely brought me a lot of joy in return. There were a few days where I genuinely forgot, but that's okay. That's part of finding a new routine to get into. And then where am I now? This practice brings me a lot of positivity and a lot of joy, and I will also carry this habit outside of this month. My grandma is the one who I definitely reach out to most now. I only have one grandparent left, but I'm very fortunate that she's still around. And so this practice has definitely helped me like not take relationships for granted and really reach out as much as I can. So I reached out to her the most, and then I also reached out to aunts and uncles, and then my cousin, who I'm really close to, who I haven't seen since the holidays. So I definitely got to reach out to her, and that was really nice to see how she was doing. And then the third practice, which is a physical health practice, was making a balanced lunch every day. This was probably the hardest to get into because I'm so used to doing something that's just the most convenient and easy or fast to make, like a box of mac and cheese, a bowl of cereal, or a peanut butter sandwich, which all taste very good, but I didn't put much thought into having a balanced meal. I just did what was convenient and what would take the least amount of time. Um, and so over time, I used Pinterest to help kind of find my groove at the beginning of the month for recommendations. That's where I found my bagel. That's the bottom photo. That became my favorite thing to have every day. It was a bagel toasted, topped with cream cheese, avocado, and smoked salmon. It's very balanced. The fish and the avocado both are very, very good for you. And it was just, it tasted really good. It was easy to make. The ingredients were affordable at a nearby grocery store. And so I never let the things go to waste, which is why I kind of stuck to the same thing every day because I knew I would look forward to having it and I knew I liked it. And then there were a few days where I didn't want to waste leftovers from the previous night, like that pasta, the top photo. That was pesto from the previous night. And so to make that meal more balanced, I had some yogurt and fruit on the side. And then right now, having stuck to this practice, it definitely became easier to stick to than I had initially thought. I was worried at the beginning of the month that I would get bored of it or I would just be lazy. And then moving forward, I definitely hope to stick to this practice. It'll probably be more challenging living on campus again because just the dining hall is, there's only so much there. Um, and then these practices taught me how change and new habits don't always have to be bad because I've always kind of had trouble with change and routines just didn't really come naturally to me, especially when I'm at home over break. Like, I just go with the flow. I don't really have a set time that I do anything. I just kind of get out of bed when I feel like it. In all honesty, I'm pretty lazy in the morning. I'm not a morning person. So this this definitely helped me fight that urge to just lay in bed by taking a walk outside and getting my body moving early in the day. And then I also learned more about how physical and mental health are interconnected. And this was especially present in taking my walks outside because my body got to move, I got to be active, get the blood flowing. And then my mind also benefited from taking walks outside because I got to be in the moment and present with myself and what's around me. Um, and then the hardest practice to maintain was definitely the balanced lunches every day. Halfway through the month, it became less of a chore, but the first couple weeks, it was definitely like really kind of tiring. I kind of just, like I said, wanted to be kind of lazy and just kind of go with what's easy, but I pushed myself to do it because I knew it would be good for me. And then all of these habits kind of have their moments of growth and resistance because all of these things, like I was combating laziness or just not being very on top of things. So I pushed through because I knew it would be good for me. Um, yeah. And then going into these practices, I had mindfulness, organization, change, being present, and human connection in mind when I was picking up these practices. For taking my walk, mindfulness and being present were the strongest values for those, and they have stuck and also grown throughout the month. And then for making a balanced meal every day, organization and change were the strongest for those, because I had to like prepare the night before, like, oh, what do I want? And then just change, like adapting to a new routine that I wasn't really thinking about before. And then for reaching out to family, that's obviously human connection. Um, and that's also grown more. I've learned to enjoy reaching out as much as I can. On some days, I would reach out to multiple people. And we would text back and forth for a while. So that became very strong as the month went on. And then, yeah, like I said, throughout the month, the values remained present, but some grew stronger as it progressed. And then I think being mindful and being present were the strongest throughout all of these practices and throughout the whole month. Um, this past week, healing has become a new value I've grown in, because over the weekend there were some very sad and angering events in the Twin Cities. And so I was kind of glued to my TV, just watching the news and being on top of what's going on. And so my walks kind of became like a time of healing to like detach from electronics and get away from the news and the media for a little bit and just kind of take a breather, which became very helpful. Just be in the moment amidst the chaos and sadness that's happening in our streets right now. And so even just for like an hour or an hour and 15 minutes going for a walk has given my brain the chance to really be present and kind of unwind for a little bit. And then carrying these practices forward, I hope to bring all of these practices into the next semester and then into the summer and beyond if I can. Realistically, making balanced meals will probably be the hardest living on campus, just because when you're in the dining hall, it's so easy to just go for the pasta or the pizza because it's what sounds good, but I'll put more thought into what I'm having. Obviously, there will be days where I just want what I'm craving, so I'll indulge in that, but like if I want pasta, I can have the pasta, but make it more balanced by having salad on the side or a banana or what other fruits and vegetables are available. Reaching out to family will probably be the easiest because it just takes so little time, but it has a lot of reward. It feels good to reach out to those I care about just to check in and see how they're doing. And then taking a walk every day. I really want to do that, to get outside and go for walks that isn't just walking from building to building, walking to the dining hall and back to my dorm, like really being in the moment and not thinking about school. And our campus, luckily, is close to nice areas like the river and residential streets like Summit, which are very, very pretty and scenic. And so it'll be nice to walk through those. All of my practices are pretty sustainable, so I can't really think of adjustments I'd really need to make, honestly. And then these practices help me want to become more adaptable to change and new routines, because I've just always struggled with change. I've always thought change was always bad. It was always just a feeling of negativity, and so these practices definitely contradicted that. I learned that new routines and change can help me in both my physical health and my mental health, and it's just a good time to like resist laziness and just staying in my comfort zone a little bit. So these practices definitely help me want to become more adaptable to change. And so, yeah,